Hello everyone, and welcome to this short video. This is the A to Z of employment law by Jones Chase, and today I'm dealing with the fifth video in the series, which is about the letter H for handbook. The importance of having a good staff handbook in place within your organization cannot be overstated. It is a highly effective tool to have at your disposal if you're an employer. So, what are the benefits of having a good staff handbook? Well, to name a few, it provides clarity insofar as individuals won't know what to do unless you tell them what the rules are. As a famous coach once said, you can't hit the target if you don't know what the target is. So this is a real opportunity to put much needed structure into the organization and to tell everyone what standards you expect from your workforce. Furthermore, when they don't meet your standards, you can pull them up on this by reference to being in breach of your written policy, which is a very effective way of doing things. And this is far better than not having anything in writing in place at all. Secondly, staff handbooks form an important part of ensuring that people are treated consistently and fairly, which is a fundamental principle of UK employment law. Thirdly, staff handbooks are a great place to record and instill company values. It can be drafted and tailored in such a way to reinforce the company's style and culture. Furthermore, and fourthly, if you're looking to attract investment into your business or going through a merger or acquisition, having a good handbook in place will help you to survive the due diligence process and can add value to your business. On top of this, there are legal reasons to have certain policies in place, and here are the top 10 policies that the team at Jones Chase recommends as an absolute legal minimum. Number 1, a disciplinary policy. Number 2, a code of conduct. Number 3, a grievance policy. Number 4, health and safety. Number 5, whistleblowing. Number 6, anti-bribery. Number 7, equal opportunities. Number 8, bullying and harassment. Number 9, data protection, and number 10, an email and internet use policy. Again, whilst there are numerous other policies that you could consider having in your handbook, these 10 policies really are the bare legal minimum that you need, and the team at Jones Chase recommend that all organizations should have them at the core of your operations. If you want to know the specific legal reasons why we think it's necessary to have each of these policies in place, do drop us a line and we'll be happy to explain this to you. Lastly, for this video, I'm going to give you our top 3 mistakes to avoid when it comes to preparing staff handbooks. Mistake number 1, making policies contractual that shouldn't be contractual. So the ideal structure for a handbook is to make it a blend of contractual and non-contractual policies. In short, my view is that if you have a policy that requires employees to do certain things or to behave in a certain way, then this policy should be contractual. A good example of this would be a code of conduct, a dress code, or a social media management policy. The benefit of having such a policy as contractual is that if a staff member does not comply with it, then not only would they be in breach of the policy itself, but you would also be able to say that they're in breach of contract, which can be quite powerful. If, on the other hand, the policy has to address something that the company must do for its staff, then I recommend that you make this policy non-contractual. This would avoid the scenario where the company itself is considered to be in breach of its own policy, and therefore, if it's contractual, also in breach of contract if it doesn't comply with the strict letter of its policy. So therefore, do be careful with wording that says, for example, this handbook or these policies form part of your terms and conditions of employment, as that may not be helpful or in fact your full intention. If you would like to know which policies we recommend are made contractual and those which should be non-contractual in our view, do drop us a line, we'll be happy to explain that to you. Mistake number 2, your handbook isn't commercially relevant. Now, I'm fully aware that it can be tempting to follow best practice when creating the policies within your handbook, but are you setting standards that are simply too high for your organization to deliver upon? For example, saying that all grievances will be fully investigated sets a very high standard for the business, and this wording can be used against you by your staff if, on some occasions, the company needs to move quickly or deviate from the wording of its policy. Perhaps better wording here would be to say, for example, that the company may investigate certain grievances at its discretion or as it sees fit. This will give you some wriggle room, particularly if you're dealing with a malicious or vexatious complaint or otherwise a grievance that you know to be spurious and untrue. Countless tweaks like this can be made to policies to make them highly commercially relevant to your business while still complying with the law. And finally, mistake 3, having employment contracts and policies that don't match. Of course, it goes without saying that your contracts and policies need to work well together and not contradict each other. If they do, that will give rise to confusion within the workplace and possibly some expensive problems down the line. The general rule is that a contractual provision will trump a non-contractual provision. So do make sure that everything works well together, particularly if you've spent time on making sure that your handbook is legally up to date and commercially relevant, whereas your contract is not. Okay, so that's all for this video, and stay tuned for further updates in our A to Z of Employment Law series from Jones Chase. If you do not have the recommended policies in place, we can of course help you with that and have a great selection of precedents that you can choose from. In addition, we also have a policy health check service whereby we can review and update your policies to make sure they're compliant with current UK employment law, but are also commercially relevant to your business. Again, the team at Jones Chase are big believers in having commercially savvy policies in place that work for and not against the business, and which will put you in a good position and save you thousands of pounds down the line. I hope that you found this video useful. If you have any comments, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave them in the box below, and thank you for watching.